everyone, I'm here today with a first impressions of the BareMinerals Bare Skin Foundation, and this is their Pure Brightening Serum Foundation with SPF 20. I got mine in the shade Bare Natural number 07, and it does come with 1 fluid ounce. There is a brush that you can purchase with this separately, or I think if you get it off QVC, then you can purchase it with the brush. I didn't want to buy it off QVC because I didn't want to pay the shipping, and honestly I just didn't want to buy a separate brush that could only be used for this foundation, so I just used a Sigma angled top kabuki, and you'll see in the demonstration I tried it with the optical blur brush from Urban Decay and it just didn't work well, so you'll see that throughout the demonstration. But I did get mine again in the shade Bare Natural number 07, and this is supposed to be a breakthrough tone correcting mineral foundation and skincare serum in one, created with an exceptional purity in mind. Ultra thin skin perfecting fluid provides seamless adjustable coverage, natural finish, and the look and feel of beautiful bare skin while delivering a more noticeably brighter, youthful appearance. Made with bare minimum ingredients and formulated without water, oil, or silicone, parabens, or fragrances. It's nothing like you've felt before. So that is basically like the rundown of the foundation, and it was, let me get my receipt here, $29. So it's actually not too pricey of a foundation at a $29 price point. I know some Clinique foundations like the Stay Matte is around like the $24 price range. So it's kind of a middle of the road. It's a little bit more than a drugstore foundation, but not as expensive as some higher end foundations in the $38 to $40 range. So if you want to see my first impressions of how this wears, how it goes on, and then kind of how it wears throughout the day, then just stay tuned. This is what the little bottle looks like. It is a kind of like squeezy bottle, and you are supposed to shake it really good. It has a little shaker ball in it. Let's shake it out. And again, this is the shade 07 Bare Natural. It has SPF 20. Okay, so has a little like squeezy hole, and I'm just going to do like 2 drops on. This is just a Urban Decay optical blurring brush, and we'll see how this works. Okay, so there's 2 drops there, and going to just start blending this in. I do have some blemishes right here, so we'll see how it covers those up. 2 drops definitely doesn't do much for me here. Do 2 more. Okay, so 4 drops. I'm not noticing a whole lot going on here. Let's try a different brush. Sigma angled top kabuki. Maybe this is a little bit denser, so let's try that. I did 3 drops now. Let's see if that does much more. So now I'm at 2, 4, 7 drops on this side. Okay, that works better. This optical blurring brush might be just a little bit, it just might not be dense enough. So okay, so I have a little redness here that it didn't cover, but it kind of covered that blemish a little bit. It definitely feels very light on the skin, like a light, almost reminds me of kind of the way I feel the Studio Skin foundation from Smashbox feels. So I did like 3 drops on this side. This brush definitely works much better. So if you want to try this foundation and you have these Sigma brushes, I recommend using that because that seems to work much better than the Urban Decay one. Okay. Yeah, I like the finish of it. It is very like light on the skin, and obviously it's a lot darker than my non-self-tanned face, but I was reading reviews for this foundation online, and it was, you know, pretty half and half. Like some people loved it and felt that it made their skin just look so nice, and some people said it brought out dry patches, and some people said it made them oily, and some people said it dried them out. So it'll be really interesting to see how this wears. It's supposed to be a pretty warm day today, probably in the 80s, so we'll see. I did apply a primer before this. I just used this Vitamin Day primer by the makeup store. It's like a primer and moisturizer in one, just because if I don't, there's no foundation that will hold up on my skin. my skin just kind of eats that foundation and breaks it down, even if it's a long wearing one. So I didn't use like a mattifying primer or anything. I just used a basic kind of moisturizer primer. So that definitely took, you know, quite a few drops, I would say. Let's see, we did what, 7 on this side, probably lost a couple in this brush. So you use quite a few drops, but you get what, probably one fluid ounce, and 1 drop is actually not that much product. So now that it is all blended in, I actually really like the way that it looks. It covered up most of my blemishes that I had right here. It covered up any redness, evened out my skin tone. It doesn't appear to me like, obviously it matches my neck pretty well. It doesn't feel like I have a ton of makeup on. This side hasn't quite set yet. So I'm going to, let's see, it is 9:56. So I'm going to finish up with the rest of my face, kind of give this a chance to set in a little bit. For being a serum foundation, I didn't feel like it's super dewy. I have my ring light on and I'm not seeing it reflecting a lot of light, so it's giving it a really nice natural skin finish without being overly dewy, but it's not quite matte. I would say it's kind of like a natural satin finish. So let me finish up the rest of my face and I will check in and we'll see once it's kind of set how it wears throughout the rest of the day. Okay, so I have finished up my makeup. I do have an eye tutorial for this look that I also just filmed, so stay tuned for that. I think, what time did I try this on? 9:56 is when I did my check-in. It's now almost 11:15. It's 11:11, and I love it so far. Let me grab my mirror so I can look a little bit closer. It sinks nicely into the skin. It doesn't feel heavy. I don't really have any dry areas on my skin. Right here in the middle, because I, you know, make so many facial expressions, it looks like it is sinking in kind of to those little fine lines a little bit. So that's something to keep in mind. It does kind of seem to sink into like your little fine lines. And I have not plucked right here, so I can see it kind of hanging onto those little hairs. So I'm just taking the brush that I used to apply it and kind of trying to smooth that out a little bit. But other than that, my other makeup went on nicely. I don't see it getting oily or anything yet, so I haven't had it on very long yet anyways, but I just wanted to do a check-in after I finished doing my makeup in person. It looks nice on camera. From looking in the viewfinder, it looks very flawless on camera, so that's nice. So I will do a check-in a little bit later and we'll see how it's holding up. Again, I've only had it on for like, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes or so. So yeah, I will check in a little bit. Okay, it is now 2:40. It's almost been 5 hours since I first applied the foundation, and I like how it's held up. I have not touched up or repowdered or anything. I was outside, went for a walk, and so like where my sunglasses were, there's a little bit of kind of smudged off a little bit, and it is a little bit oily kind of right in here, but not too bad. Kind of like just a glowy, I don't even know if it's going to show up on camera, just kind of like a glowy look. So what I'm going to do to just kind of fix that situation a little bit, oh, there's my brush. This is the brush I used to apply it. I don't have any additional product. I'm just going to kind of smooth that out right there on my nose because my sunglasses kind of smeared it off, but it still looks nice. Like my chin, it's kind of worn off. Went out to lunch, kind of wore off a little bit on my chin. So it's not like the longest wearing foundation. It's not like one of those that like kind of stays in place all day, but it still looks good. I can see a little bit of like my blemishes right here and right here showing through, and that's about it. Other than that, it still looks pretty nice. I'm going to touch up with a tiny bit of like just translucent powder. This is the MAC Prep and Prime. Not to add any more coverage, but to just kind of matte down some of these shiny areas. So I'm just going to put a little bit on my chin. And this is just, like I said, a translucent powder, so it's not going to add any coverage or color. It's just going to kind of tone down some of that. And it's about 80 degrees out today, so it is quite warm. So I just kind of set that a little bit to kind of tone that down as far as like any shininess goes. But I will check in a little bit and we'll see how It's held up if it gets oily again after kind of setting that, and if any more foundation kind of wears off. So again, it's been like 5 hours or so, so I'll check back in a little bit. Okay, I am back for an update. I have 100% natural light here. It's very cloudy, and it's 5:22, so I've had this on since what, 9:50 this morning. Let's see how it's holding up. I took a little bit of a nap, and so let's see. It's worn off a little bit on the chin. My little blemishes are starting to peek through. In the last update, I just took some translucent powder and kind of powdered my T-zone. And I can see it's getting a little bit oily right in there. My nose is pretty much doesn't have any makeup on it. And I'm a little blotchy on my forehead, but you know, it's actually not too horrible. It doesn't claim to be a long wearing matte makeup. It is a brightening serum, and for the most part it held up pretty nice. A lot of my blush bronzer is kind of off, so I definitely wouldn't recommend this for like if you need foundation to last all day long, if you have a really long day. But if you want something just for, you know, a good majority of the day, something that's very light on the skin, I think this would be a nice one. I'm got kind of combo skin, so I think if you have dry skin, it will work nicely. I didn't find that it clung to any dry patches. I didn't find that it, you know, clung weirdly or sat weird on my face as far as like blemishes go. If you have very oily skin, I don't think you will like it. You might have to powder up a few times if you do. And if you have really oily skin, it might just kind of wear right off your face. So this is probably a foundation I would like more in the winter time when it's a little bit more dry and not so hot, because today wasn't actually too bad as far as heat goes. So overall, the foundation is okay. It applies easily. It wears beautifully on the skin for the first few hours, and then it does kind of wear off. So I like it. I'm going to keep it for the days that I just need something throughout the day, but not something that's going to be a long wearing mattifying foundation if you don't mind touching up a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Let me know if you've tried this foundation, what you think of it, if you like it, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Bye!